vision impairment. World Sight Day 2019 is tomorrow, and there's a theme for it, and we have a special guest in the studio with
That's
us.
right. The theme for World Sight Day for 2019 is Vision First. And to speak or to join us for the conversation this morning, we have the chairperson of the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria. She's no stranger to us here on Lagos Talk 981, and it's a pleasure to have her back with us to discuss this very important topic in the person of Dr. Modupe Olorunnimbe. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Good to
Thank you.
have you on the show. Now we've talked about a number of things, around sight when you've been around. But today is really special because tomorrow is World Sight Day. Now it's usually championed or coordinated by the International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness, and it's now been WHO has now also bought into it, but it's recognized worldwide, and it's hopefully for key stakeholders like yourself, normal human beings like myself and Val, the government, the government to take one day to actually talk about preventing blindness and also looking at visual impairment as well. But let's take the theme for this year, vision first, and talk about what I mean. When you hear it's such, I don't want to use the, a bit abstract for a
Mm.
number of people who are not in the field. And so
Okay.
with the theme vision first, what are they trying to achieve for this year?
Well, this year, we're talking vision first because we want to call attention to the importance of sight. Many people take their vision for granted, but I would let you know that of the five senses, maybe I'm biased, but I think the sense of sight comes first,
Mm.
actually, and it's paramount. You just take a while to shut your eyes for about a minute in silence and see how it feels to lose that vision.
Mm.
So it's important. You can do other things if you lose other senses, but if you lose your sense of sight, you lose a lot of other things: self esteem, social well being, economic well being.
Mm.
It's very important. And so, therefore, the WHO and IAPB is trying to call our attention to that small organ that we also always neglect because most of the blinding conditions are also painless.
Mm.
So we really don't know we have them. Vision First is calling our attention to take care of your vision first before you do other things.
Mm.
Mm.
Right. That's
Interesting.
easy. QED, like
Mm.
they say in maths or science.
So, I mean, looking at it from an international perspective, how far do you think Nigeria has come?
Oh, we're doing well.
Mm.
The prevalence for blindness was about 4 point something about 10 years ago. It's down now. In the area of infections that lead to blindness in Nigeria, trachoma, river blindness, you hardly hear about them anymore
Mm.
because we've worked hard towards eradicating them. Well, but because blindness also sometimes come with age, and we're beginning to have an aging population in Nigeria, you may not feel that we're doing because a lot of older people are living and they have multiple diseases and they also have blindness.
Yeah.
But we've come a long way from 10 years ago.
Mm.
Right, that's great to hear. Now, when you look at this, the reports from around the world, we've just done a bit of research around, World Sight Day, Vision First. We see that in a lot of countries, we have statistics for the world. So we have, I mean, the numbers are key for this day. They talk about, preventable illness, talk about
Yes.
this and that. But in Nigeria, do we have statistics? I know you talked about 4 point,
That's a prevalence. That's the rate at
prevalence,
which
yes.
people are getting blind.
But
Mm.
do
Yeah.
we have statistics? Because, like you mentioned, unfortunately, vision is not first, if we're being honest, in Nigeria. It's because we almost just rely on the fact that, okay, it's not something that maybe there are symptoms, obvious symptoms that people can watch out for. Unless we have programs like this, people are not quite, giving that awareness. Do we have statistics on the prevalence or in terms of individual
Yeah, we
categorization of?
do actually. Between 2005 and 2007,
Mhm.
there was a national blindness and visual survey in Nigeria.
All right.
So yeah, you may say that's about 12 years ago, but we can project from there. And at that time, the figures were like about 1.13 million Nigerians aged 40 and above were already blind.
Mm.
2.7 million have moderate visual impairment. 400,000 at that time had severe visual impairment. And the numbers increased.
Mm.
4.25 million adults 40 and above are either visually impaired or blind as at 2007.
Mm.
I'm sure the numbers have gone up. And these numbers does not include children.
Wow. Because I see that survey was done using adults, above
Yes,
40.
40 and above.
Let's talk about
Boy.
visual impairment
Mm.
in children. Let's even start from that, because I'm glad you highlighted that this survey doesn't include children, because when we think about children, we don't actually think, visual impairment is not something we really talk about when it comes to conditions that children might have. But I've noticed something personally, and I don't know if it's just me or if it's a real concern, that in recent times we've seen more children wearing a pair of eyeglasses, as you know, than we had in the past. Is there a reason for that? Is that, am I just being paranoid in terms of just maybe open, my eyes are just being open now to that, or is that a real concern that more children are having to use an aid, a visual aid, from a very young age?
I'm so glad you noticed that. And for us, it's an improvement from the past.
Mm.
Let me say that children never know they have a problem. It's either the teacher finds out in school that he's not copying very well
Mhm.
because there's no pain.
Mm.
And they grow up thinking that the way they're seeing is the way
It's
everybody
normal,
says.
yeah.
So they never complain about it. It's only when it becomes a bit obvious that, oh, I can't see. And in those days as well, there was this myth that children shouldn't wear glasses.
Yes.
Everybody felt that if a child was wearing glasses, she wanted to call attention to herself or something. But now parents are more aware. If a child is not seeing properly the whiteboard in class or the blackboard, what is he or she doing there? And you find out that most children like that become distracted. They distract other children.
Yeah.
They're not learning anything they're not learning as fast as their colleagues.
Yeah.
So they keep getting names that do not actually belong to them. They're called dullards. They're called attention deficit
Mhm.
children.
Yeah.
All they need is a pair of glasses. So now, if you see more people, it's because there are people going out there at the primary care level, there are eye care teams going to schools and pointing out to the parents that, look, this child needs to see a specialist. So the awareness is going on.
Yeah.
And thank God for days like this. Thank God for the people out there on the field.
Yes.
Every member of the eye care team is involved in that. And somehow they bring these children, they identify them, bring them into the hospitals and give them glasses. So
That's
it's a good
brilliant.
thing.
Thank you. So it's not that it's become more prevalent. It's just that people are being more aware of
They're,
it
they're more
and
aware.
and they are proactive, and perhaps hopefully the culture of silence or culture of it being a taboo, like children are not
Yes,
meant to be
you're
wearing
right.
glasses, is now being
Mm.
challenged.
Yes,
Oh, that's great.
thank God for
Well,
that.
what would you say are some of the major causes for visual impairment in children, especially?
In children, uncorrected refractive errors. That's a big name. All it means is children need glasses and they're not getting it. Either they're out of reach
Mm.
financially or by distance,
Mm.
or the myth, oh no, he wants a pair of glasses because his friend is already wearing one. So the parents don't care. So there's the uncorrected refractive errors are the most common cause of visual impairment in children. And that is unfortunate because we've given them less than a perfect start to their education. Then we have children that are born with genetic diseases. We also have children that are born with stuff like cataract, glaucoma. And that is why when a baby is born, you know that the doctors check 10 fingers, 10 toes, a lot more than that. You check the eyes as well. Then the babies, particularly babies that are born prematurely, they come up with retinopathy of prematurity. That's also a big name, but what it translates to is that that child needs help. That child needs at least a specialist to see an eye specialist. And every child by the age of 6 should have seen at least one specialist at one point in their lives. So,
I wish we could take a poll. If you're listening to us and you have a child or children, please let us know. If the child is older than 6 years old, sorry, and you're taking the child to see an eye specialist, I would like to know that, because I don't think I'm trying to think of the first time I went to the eye doctor. Do you remember, Valentine?
I do. I remember.
At what age?
I think I was an adolescent at the time, and I blamed myself at the time. I was aspiring to look like an Efiko. That colloquial term for
That's
people
what you
who read
wanted.
very well. Yeah, I was aspiring to look like, because it was an elitist thing to wear glasses back then, and people saw you as somebody who was smart by default when they saw you in glasses,
Very true.
and that's some of the effects of peer pressure. Even in these days, you find a lot of teenagers are, putting on glasses or posing harm to their sight because they want to look like their friends, or they want to be put in a certain class.
Yes.
We'll examine some of these reasons, some of these causes after this break. We'll take a break here. As Lagos Talks special, Lagos Talks 981, the focus is on sights. Tomorrow is World Sight Day. Our special guest, Dr. Olorunnimbe, she is here to speak to us and enlighten us about some of the myths surround sight and visual impairment as we experience in our society. Stay with us. Smooth 98.1.
Forward banking.
Finally, you got the name. I'm proud of you.
The last
I've been
time I
here
had to
like
practice
3
it.
years.
I'm so proud of him. Then he was about, I was like, okay, so when we come back, I think we should then now go back to look at what's visual impairment and then blindness, the differences, and then I think we already touched on causes. We
Yeah,
looked at
for
for children, so
then
maybe for
causes for
adults, we
adults.
can then go for causes for adults.
Okay, the guy called now. I don't know
Okay.
if he's downstairs.
Okay. So about the other day.
Okay.
And then we also need to talk about the resources,
Yes.
human resources for this.
Okay.
Are that
So coming
available?
back, maybe we need to do a longer line.
It's good though, man.
She's not sure, but she's coming back.
Okay. So
It's going to screen through. This is a good dance. Okay.
Future forward banking.
That thing can be so nerve-wracking. Yeah, look at the long liner. Impromptu.
should I put a music break?
Hmm?
Should I put a music break?
Now, are you ready to go on, ma'am? Oh, you're right.
Okay. Thanks, Rob. It's your Love Music, Love Life radio station, Smooth 98.1. You're listening to Smooth Breakfast as a special at this time where we're looking at discussing sites, the necessity for it. Today is the 9th of October. Tomorrow is the 10th, and it will be the World Sight Day. The theme is Vision First. All right, Dr. Modupe Olorunnimbe is our special guest today to discuss this in detail. Chairperson of Ophthalmology Society, Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria, Lagos. She's here to expose the details, the intricacies regarding sites and issues that she experiences on a daily basis in her profession.
Let's not forget that you can join the conversation. If you have questions while she's speaking or something that you just need to get a clarification on, or you want to contribute to the conversation, please feel very free to send us a message. You can use the WhatsApp platform on 0809 444 0981, or you can go onto Twitter at smooth981 FM. Use the hashtag Lagos Talks 981. We're also streaming this particular Lagos Talks 981 on YouTube, so you can go on there right now, search for Smooth 981, and we are live. So please join the conversation. Now, before the break, we looked at children. We looked at what seems like more children using eyeglasses at a younger age. We looked at the causes of visual impairment in children. But I want to move to the adults. We also listened to some statistics from Nigeria with regards to sight and visual impairment or and blindness. But let's talk about the difference first of all, because there's a difference between visual impairment and blindness, and then perhaps we'll also touch on the causes of this. Dr. Olorunnimbe, can you please share with us or highlight some
Okay,
differences? Yes, the
okay.
difference.
Visual impairment is a decreased ability to see to a degree that causes problems that are not fixable by wearing glasses.
Mm.
So when people cannot see and assume that all they need is glasses, then they're making a mistake.
Mhm.
By the time you wear a pair of glasses, say, oh, it's not correcting. I dropped it, changed it 6 months later, dropped it. Then there's a problem somewhere.
Mm.
You can't keep. So that is a visual impairment. So if your glasses get you to see only, I don't know how many people are familiar with the reading chart.
Mm.
The reading chart in the doctor's clinic
Yeah.
that has big letters that filter down to tiny letters.
Mhm.
If you can't get beyond the third line, even with glasses on, then you're visually impaired,
Mm.
and more investigations have to be done. If if you cannot see from the side to as wide as a field of vision as you're meant to see, then there's a vision impairment going on.
That's the peripheral vision that you
Peripheral
talked
vision,
about the last
yes,
time you were here.
yes. So we have visual impairment, we have low vision, even when the what you can see is like the first letter only with glasses on. But blindness, there's legal blindness,
Mm.
and then there's WHO blindness. The WHO definition of blindness is that when you cannot see the first letter from 3 meters with glasses on, even, I mean, we've corrected and we've given you glasses, this is the best you can see, then we should be thinking of blindness, because you can't even drive that way.
Mm.
And then with your peripheral vision, if all you can see is just 10 degrees or less, that's tunnel vision coming from the side.
Yeah.
It's better to be classified as blind. Many people don't like the word, they want to use visually impairment, but I'm talking scientific definitions here and legal definitions. So there's no other way to describe it. Visual impairment is serious, it's profound, not to talk of blindness, but there's always a way out. Like we said, 80% of visual impairment is avoidable. So all we're saying is check your eyes. The eyes do not have spare parts. There's no, there's no replacement per se. So it's the one thing you should actually take care of.
Let's speak to the facilities that are available for checking these cases of, eye-related issues, health issues in Nigeria. I mean, looking at Lagos, for instance, where do you think, in what areas do you think we're lacking? Focusing on, eye care.
Well, we're like 2 million strong in Nigeria,
Hmm.
population estimated to be. So if we have just about 500 people, 500 ophthalmologists in Nigeria, you know that there's already a serious problem.
Yes.
On the average, one ophthalmologist will be seeing how many people? 4 million. Yeah. But the thing about it also is that the distribution is skewed. Many of the eye care specialists are in the cities and nice places where they can make a living and send their children to school as well. We have other members of the eye care team. We have the optometrists, and they are about 4,000. And even then, they're much more than us, but even then, there's a low ratio. We have ophthalmic nurses. They're up and coming. Training for them continues. But so in terms of human resources, we're already lacking in the country.
Mm.
Then for facilities, if I talk about Lagos State, I think there's so many. If you go to this street, that street, you will see a
Yeah.
lot of private sector going on in the eye care business. But then the government too, in many of the general hospitals, have eye clinics, and
Yeah.
they keep seeing tons of people.
Mm.
In fact, there's usually, with the influx of people into Lagos State now, you can imagine that even the facilities that we have is further stretched
Yeah.
because they require eye health care.
Mm. Do you think eye care or ophthalmic services should fall under free healthcare services that may be provided or offset by the government?
Yes, to a to an extent, even WHO suggests that we don't sit in our places. We go out and look for the people with eye health issues
Mm.
and then bring them and treat them. So across the world, globally, there's that percentage that can be done under the free health scheme, eye health scheme, but it's somebody's paying for it somewhere.
Can we afford it? Can the government afford it?
I'm not sure. I don't have the I don't have, but if for Lagos State government, you keep saying there's all over the place.
Mm.
We've been doing free eye screening for years.
Mm. Largely championed by private establishments, private institutions, and is
Yes.
supporting such services.
As we speak,
Mm.
tomorrow, the Ministry of Health is going to be having their own free eye screening.
Oh, see?
The Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria will be having our own eye screening, actually next door to you here
Oh,
Okay.
at Iru local LCDA at
Yeah.
Iru.
Yes.
The chairman, Honorable Rashidat Adu, has been kind enough to support us.
I mean, that
And we're going
that
to-
deserves a round of applause,
I think
really,
it- yeah,
because
it
we don't
does.
hear much of these things.
No.
Sensitization is key.
The Ministry of Health is having we have one that on the mainland
Mm-hmm.
and one on the island.
Well,
But
the one
it's
on the mainland, where is it? Because there's some
from
people
Alausa.
Alausa. Okay,
Yes.
so people can go
Go
there.
there,
From what
yeah.
time?
There's going to be a walk for sight just to
Okay.
create awareness and pick up people along the way and tell them
Yeah.
come, But the truth of the matter is, apart from World Sight Day, there are programs that happen all the time
Mm.
that the government is involved in, and private sectors, NGOs, they all team together.
Mm.
But maybe that's why there's this awareness
Yes.
talk. We do it. But one thing I would say though is that people shouldn't actually wait for these free programs.
Mm.
You know why? Because when you take charge of your own eye health and you say, you go to a controlled setting, you go to the hospital where all the equipment is. For the eye screening exercises, what is done is to shine the light in your eye, find out if you have a problem, and refer. That is the ideal, refer. But our people stop at the free eye screening. Once they've given them free reading glasses or a free eye drop, they think they don't go. Like I said, those conditions are painless.
Mm.
It would be nice for the public that are benefiting from this to take it a step further. If you're told to go to the hospital because further tests need to be done, then you go. A lot of our equipment cannot be carried out under the sun in the free, everybody, the melee that happens when there's free eye.
Yeah.
So the whole idea for the eye screening is to pick out the people that need further help.
Yeah. All right.
So it's well established that we do not have the capacity to reach out to the general population providing services as at when do you.
It is not well established. We are
It's
doing
not,
that
it's
right
not well
now.
established.
No, you said it is well established. I'm saying no, that we're doing this almost every month.
Mm,
There's something going on in Lagos
mm,
concerning eye
mm.
care.
That's really interesting, and I'm glad we talked about the population side by side, the number of the
Yes.
personnel available,
Yeah,
because just as you mentioned that every month something is being done, I'm sure if we took another poll, a number of people would say they're not aware, and it's not because of efforts not being done, it's because of the fact that there are just too many people
Yes.
to meet, and little or no, or not near enough personnel to handle these cases
You're
or to
quite
raise the
correct.
awareness as you would want to.
You're quite correct. In every local government in Lagos, there's the primary health center.
Yes.
When people go there, they go. I don't know really what is in the mind of anyone who goes and is told that there's something wrong with their eye and feels, oh, they can't be saying what is right. I reject it. No,
That sounds familiar.
the lady says, I have this. No, and it cuts across social class. So once there's no pain, people tend to ignore the symptoms until it's too late.
So the symptoms until the symptoms are very dire or life-threatening before a lot of people take action.
Yeah, if it don't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, and then because when you have a headache, something is wrong. When you cannot walk, something is wrong. But when you tell me my eyes are funny when I can't feel
see
any
you
pain, I can see. But let's talk about causes, because some people who are listening might want to find out ways to prevent. So in terms of causes of visual impairment, and I'm quite interested in what you said, because if one had heard the word visual impairment, you'd have thought a need for glasses would be put under that. But the fact that it's not corrected by wearing glasses, that's actually
The visual impairment.
that's actually interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe if we could talk about the causes. We also have a question from OBJ.
All right, let's take this one on WhatsApp. OBJ from Lekki said, "Good morning, and I'm an ardent listener of your programs. On site discourse, I have done eye tests, particularly glaucoma, and I was told that my nerves are intact. Okay, but early in the morning or sometimes in the day, my eyes become red and they twitch at times. I was recommended a capsule-like drug, which I've been taking all along, but the redness and twitching is still being experienced. I just renewed my glasses February this year, but from one of the famous eye clinics, and I just said, please help."
Okay, redness can come from maybe allergies. So it's not, he may need a pair of glasses, fine. But then, if in the course of his work, if he also works with computers, when you're staring at the computer, you don't blink as often as you should. Blinking is actually subconscious. So the eye becomes dry and it can be red, which is what he said. If they are itchy and red as well, it sounds like an allergy. So you can see that it's not the glasses. The glasses will not help with that. Sometimes when we work with long hours on the computer, we need to actually take our eyes off for a bit and, rest them. The twitching he's talking about, all he needs is just to modify his activities. Many of us work long hours on the computer. If they say that his nerves are intact, he probably does not have glaucoma. Glaucoma would not always cause redness. It's something else. So he needs maybe a second opinion or an eye drop.
We'll take a break. We'll continue this conversation on the other side. If you're listening, this is Lagos Talks 981. Our special guest is Dr. Modupe Olorunnimbe. She's the chairperson of the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria. Stay with us here. Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1.
You're listening to Smooth.
Oh, yeah.
Quarterly banking should be made easy.
So I have the boxes downstairs. You guys will pick one box.
Providence Bank.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're so kind. Are you not taking it? You need to be eating.
Madam, let me hear one.
Yeah, it's true. I'm sure, Auntie. You need to eat. You have lost so much weight. I hope you're dressed
not like
it.
I'm not doing anything.
You see that one? Thank God you did not pay for the gym. You told me
me.
you're going to the gym to lose weight. Not knowing that you're going to have natural.
I don't know what's wrong with you.
I hope you're dressed.
And I've been eating ice cream all week.
Ah,
No,
so.
It's not
trust
a
me,
joke.
not showing.
Okay.
It's not showing.
It's you put forth. It's my friend that's stressing. I'm not coming tomorrow.
Forget
and
that
next.
one. It's not me.
I'm not
Forget that
coming
one.
tomorrow
I know
and
your
next.
itinerary of running to Yaba, running to Lagos.
Hey.
Mike's up.
All right, you're welcome back. It is Lagos Talks 91 here on Smooth 98.1. And we are talking about Vision First in recognition of World Sight Day, which takes place tomorrow. By the way, it's every second Thursday in the month of October, and it is marked all over the world. Well, in Nigeria, we're doing our bit. And to join us for this conversation, we've had the pleasure of Dr. Modupe Olorunnimbe, who is the chairperson, the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria, such a tongue twister,
Yes, it is.
and OSN, maybe from now I'll say OSN Nigeria in Lagos here.
Yeah, right.
And before the break, we looked at personnel, human resources in the in the healthcare sector, particularly for sight.
Yes.
Also talked about the fact that intervention is ongoing in Lagos State in particular and some parts of Nigeria, only that it's not enough. We're doing it, but it's not enough because we don't have enough hands and even resources as well to take it to all the corners of the country. However, just before the break, we'd answer the question from OBJ from Lekki. By the way, if you have a question or you want to join the conversation, you can do so via our platforms on WhatsApp, on Twitter, and on YouTube.
WhatsApp number is 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 Twitter is at Smooth981FM. On YouTube, just type Smooth981FM Lagos. Search us out and subscribe.
All right, brilliant. Now, we also talked about the difference between visual impairment and blindness. And one of the questions we'd asked, and we hope you'll be able to give us some answers to it, is what are the causes of visual impairment? Does it just happen? Are people born with it? Are there ways that it can be prevented? What are the causes?
Okay, first I'd like to correct something. I am speaking for Lagos State,
Yes.
Okay.
but I know that nationwide, all my colleagues this day and all through the year have eye care programs, because these are the things that we talk about in conferences, how to make it better and everything. So it's actually far reaching. It's just that the resources could be more, but we're doing our best given the circumstances.
Yeah.
Then causes of visual impairment, even in the adult, it is still uncorrected refractive errors. People don't bother. Nature abhors a vacuum. We have said here that we don't have enough trained specialists in all the cadre of the eye care team. So what has happened is we have a lot of charlatans also filling in, and sometimes because they're at the grassroots, they're even getting to the people faster than us and doing more harm than good. Sometimes in the villages, for taboo, if there's limited resources in a village, the men get eye care first before the women. So you can actually have a woman with bilateral cataracts staying at home because it is not her turn yet. Then the itinerant eye doctor comes and couches the eye. We call that procedure couching, because they use something to move the cataract out of the eye. The person sees for 1 or 2 days a little better, and then the person goes blind. And that blindness is irreversible, whereas the blindness for cataract is reversible with proper surgery. So it's things like that going on. The charlatans are all over the place, even in Lagos. We see them on the streets with and I'm amazed that people prefer to go to them. Even learned people, they're saying they're in a hurry. They get their care faster from a charlatan than an eye care specialist. Now, going back to the causes, uncorrected refractive errors, even in the adults, constitute about 43% of visual impairment. Again, I know that some people don't like glasses. They come up with a lot of excuses, but that's it. The next common one is cataract. Cataract is an aging condition. Everybody wants to get old, fine, but after 60, we should expect a little clouding of the clear lens in our eyes. It's part of age. And once that matures, the person is up for surgery. There's no eye drop that will melt that cataract. It's a simple surgery, 10, 15 minutes, you are up. Patch on your eye, next day, patch is off. You can see. But it's done in a controlled setting. Then you have glaucoma. Glaucoma is the silent thief of sight. Very common. Also, people have it, they don't know. And glaucoma is commonest cause of irreversible blindness worldwide because we don't even know what causes it. So we have no cure. We only plan to control. So the earlier we make a diagnosis, the earlier we help you to maintain what you have. So that is why people, and it's painless, that is why people have to check their eyes. We have the diabetic retinopathies. If people have diabetes and they struggle to keep they're struggling to keep their sugar normal, but over years, the sugar affects the back of the eye as well. So they must, as a matter of routine, check their eyes. It's not only about saving the life from the sugar in the blood, it's also about keeping the person with vision until the person dies. But if you save your life and you refuse to check your eye, then you may actually be alive and have many more years blind, which is unnecessary. People have to check their eyes. Trauma is another. Every time you find people fighting, I tell people, don't separate fights. If you want to separate a fight, stand at a distance and say, stop, stop, stop. Because I've seen a lot of people who said they got their eyes injured and lose their vision because they entered into a fray. So it is probably wisdom to avoid fighting or fighting back if somebody upsets you. Then we have infections. Like I said, the infections have gone a little, there's a massive reduction in infections. But there's one thing that people do, and that is self-medicate. When there's a red eye, Apollo, some people say they'll put breast milk on it, it cures it. Some people put battery water, some people put sugar water. You have a red eye, see an eye care specialist. Don't go putting, dangerous stuff into your eyes.
Some say their parents have tried it in the past and some of those things work.
They got lucky. That's all I'll say.
That's really important.
Self-medication is a no-no. Thank you, Dr. Olorunnimbe. We're not done yet. So we'll take your messages. We encourage you to send in messages on WhatsApp 0809-444-0981. Ask questions. Would like to demystify some of the things that you're unsure of.
Yes.
Send in messages through on Twitter at smooth981fm. Use that hashtag Lagos Talks 981. Stay with us.
Music. World class station.
Oh boy.
This
Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Dakori, and I'm going to tell you about your favorite Milo ready to drink.
People should have seen how they
Milo
treated me in that
Ready-to-Drink
place.
is made from the natural goodness
I don't know.
of
I
milk,
think they just
malt,
don't think
and
that I'm
cocoa,
worthy of
and
their box.
fortified with essential vitamins and minerals, so I can now pack your winning
Maybe after.
Milo
we'll
into
take
my
it.
Okay, yeah,
kids'
take
lunchboxes. So, Mom,
Really?
what are
Okay.
you
Personal
doing?
then together.
Make sure your
Can
child
you give
is
me
always
my
ready to drink.
Yeah, take.
Milo ready to drink.
Okay, let me remove this.
energy of future
How many minutes do we have?
champions. Home.
We have
Everybody smile.
Something about it. From
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. People normally ask, what can we do to maintain our eye health?
So I hope for people like me, Val, I'm not wearing glasses.
55 gigabytes for 12,000 naira on Wi-Fi and 160 gigabytes for 25,000 naira on routers. Reliable home broadband by Airtel, the smartphone network.
Valentine, do you have any song for
Yeah.
jam?
I forwarded some songs to you. I did.
All those South African songs that are all languages. And for some, I couldn't open them because you have to have a password.
Oh, oh boy. So you released the new album.
Yeah, true. We should even listen.
Carol sausage roll.
Who am I?
For one
Yeah, really.
Price point.
Price what?
Price point.
At Price Point in Lupeju, shop retail conveniently, but big prices lower than the open markets. No joke. The largest store in Lagos guarantees quality fresh and dry groceries, electronics, apparel, cosmetics, diesel, and insurance. Call us on 0700 776 4683. Price Sport. Everything you love. Yes, oh, the German don't land. Hey, the Lafarge Elephant Super Set Cement. Lafarge don't improve in quality. Cause Samaran better packaging. It is super strong. It is set super quick. And it gives super value for your block making business or construction. Elephant Super Set Cement. Now the number one choice for all concrete and construction work. Carry rates when in Lafarge Depot. Distribute to all retail outlets. Make you ask for the German. Build Lafarge Elephant Super Set Cement. Lafarge Elephant Super Set Cement. Set fast. Build strong.
As a mom and a dentist, I know the importance of strong teeth, beautiful white smile, and fresh breath. They give you the confidence to eat the right foods without worry, speak confidently in public, and making friends is easier when you know you have fresh breath. I give my family confidence with Pepsodent's Triple Protection 1, 2, 3. It's 3 toothpaste in 1. To protect their teeth from holes, give them white teeth and fresh breath. The confidence of 3 toothpaste in 1. Pepsodent's Triple Protection 1, 2, 3. Just when you thought you knew everything about noodles, something else comes up. Something new, something fun, something exciting, something kind of jollofy. Introducing Golden Penny Jollof Noodles. Enjoy the rich, satisfying goodness of Golden Penny Jollof Noodles.
5 more
It's
minutes.
easy to make and ready in just 5 minutes. Just the way you like it. Golden Penny Jollof Noodles
So
for
all
the
the
love of
noodles are getting
jollof.
ready.
Driving Lagos. Simple rules for driving safely around Lagos. Did you know that the highway code has rules about overtaking? Overtake only on the left, unless traffic is moving in queues in all lanes and you have no choice but to keep moving forward where you are.
Studio mics
Never
are up.
move to a lane on
Studio
your
is
right
live.
to overtake.
Just enough time to get that breakfast ready. We will wrap up the show. The next 5 minutes. Lagos Talks 981 is a special presentation today, focusing on sight because the eyes are the windows to the soul.
Yes, indeed.
Dr. Modupe Olorunnimbe is here, a special guest. She's the chairperson of the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria, and she has been answering questions. She's been throwing very, very nice insights into some of the questions you'd have about sites, issues, bedeviling the vision, right vision. Well, even as we're getting ahead to actualizing Vision 2020, but that seems really far. Well,
We've moved the bar.
We've
Alright.
moved the bar, right?
We've moved the bar. I mean, we keep moving it
Mhm.
because unfortunately we don't. It doesn't look like we're going to achieve it at that time. So we need to keep being realistic with regards to the time set. But
Talking about what looks like what should be, I mean, we have a lot of experiences with Mirage. You find people who drive, especially as we're approaching Hamatan season. You find a lot of times that you're driving and you think you've seen a pool of water ahead of you. But when you get there, you now find out there's no, it's just a refraction of the
vision.
sunlight or poor vision, maybe peripheral vision. The last time you were here, we talked about driving and how a lot of Lagosians need their eyes checked.
Yeah. But will they?
Well, how's that response been?
Well, you do get people coming in, walk-in patients, even into the. I'm always surprised when somebody comes to my place of work in the government hospital and says, "Well, I just want to check my eyes." So that means the person is investing that time to actually do something. No complaints, but he has come. So we're getting there. These talks like this and stations like Smooth FM, who allow us to come and talk, do this for us, and yeah, one step at a time.
Thank you.
We're getting there.
Thank you very much. Now, as we wrap up the conversation, we've talked on the causes, we've talked on the different types, we talked on children and adults, and just very quickly how to maintain our eyesight.
First and foremost, get the eye checks before because prevention is always better than cure. Before the age of 6, from 6 to the teenage years, maybe once every 2 years, even three through to like 30. But by the time you get to 40, you must be having an annual check every year in this environment.
So
60,
please here 40 annual check.
yes, whether you have a comorbidity or not, whether you have another disease or not. But if you then have things like a family history of blindness, diabetes, then the checks, hypertension, then the checks should actually be more frequent. That's what we advocate. That we should watch for children, buy safe toys for them. Don't let them play with broomstick or sword or whatever, they injure their eyes. For adults, and also in our diet, let's eat with wisdom. Eat sources of vitamin A. These are preventive things. It's not that when you now have a condition, you now think eating vitamin A will cure it. We are talking something for you to have your eyes healthy till old age. Eat a lot of dark leafy vegetables, red palm oil, cod liver oil, eggs, orange fruits like and vegetables like carrots and all of that. They are rich in vitamin A, and it helps.
Thank you, Dr. Olorunnimbe.
Thank you.
There are a few questions here. This one's from Ohunene. It says, please help ask the doctor, how soon after a cataract is detected can it be surgically treated? My mom's doctor said she has to wait for it to get bigger before it can be treated. Is that true?
She has to wait for it to get more mature
Okay.
before surgery. There's a reason for that. Some people can still have cataracts and have correction with glasses. It's better to take it out when it is mature. Some people, because of their work, also would insist that, look, I can't see, depending on the location of the cataract. It's not a hard and fast rule, but his mom's doctor has looked at her, considered everything, and advised her to wait a bit. For some people, the location of the cataract will mean whether it is mature or not, take it out so that the person can continue to see. So it depends.
Okay.
We have another
yes.
question here. World Sight Day. Why is it that going directly to get glasses is costlier than just getting the reading glasses, and then going to a technician for it? The doctors don't even educate the patient on reading or how to notice differences. I don't know if you understand.
Yes, there's visual impairment for distance, and there's visual impairment for near. Most of the time, people have different refractive errors. You're either long-sighted or short. But when you get to the age of 40 and above, you start having problems reading small prints, yet you also have problems seeing far. So the kind of glasses you are going to get is different. It's going to be like bifocals. It's supposed to address the distance vision and also affect your near vision. And somehow even the mid-distance vision for your laptops. And there are different lenses that go with them. They cost differently. We always try to educate. Maybe I don't know.
But if you were to find a way to reach out to you personally, would you mind sharing the detail? Maybe what channel would you prefer?
Social media. Are you on Instagram, Facebook?
I'm not allowed to even do that though. Maybe after the program, if he reaches out to you.
Okay.
But I'm here to promote OSN.
Okay.
And so therefore I would say, please see. He might be lucky. Maybe he has also been seeing those that give the glasses along the road, or those that I don't know. I don't know for sure, but really, we take time to explain and make the differences clear about the lenses that a person is supposed to use.
Dr. Olorunnimbe, we can't thank you enough for always coming here and sharing your wisdom with us and your expertise.
Thank you
for the job you do chairing the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria. We appreciate you a lot. And Lagos, thank you for your messages.
Thank you indeed. Unfortunately, we couldn't even run through all the messages. Time has gone so fast. But always a pleasure. Tomorrow is World Sight Day. Please look out for activities going on around Lagos and put up by the OSN in Lagos State as well. So please make sure you plug in one way or the other. And this is a reminder that vision first.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mama.
I think that's